Good morning, power hitters. Today is Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. My name is Jarrett McAllister, your mentor and co-host, alongside my main man, Jonathan Bernasso. What's up, brother?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon. Good to see you, Jarrett. Almost Christmas.
Dude, almost Christmas. Final, what is this? The final official Tuesday training meeting for us. Formal, I guess that would be the correct verbiage.
Yeah, we might do some Q&As, but this is the last one with some other events coming up.
There's something about Q&A over brandy and eggnog next week, right? That's what it was.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. With the fireplace going and everything.
In the background.
I like it. Shall we get into some success stories? Anyone out there that's had a recent sale, install, got a new lead, referral, ambassador, woke up this morning breathing air? Any success stories that you'd like to share?
My install.
You got an install, Brian? Tell us.
For me, got my house. Yay.
Yeah.
Waiting for them to connect it so I can tell FPL thanks, but no thanks to the 20% raise in January.
Wow. Great. Leading by example. Black on black panels, I think I saw, right?
Yeah, beautiful. Looks good on my orange tile roof.
Very cool. No easier way to sell than having it yourself. Awesome. Anybody else out there like to share a quick success story? JC probably has 100 of them. I know Jeff has a few. Scott, I know you have a few.
I actually have quite a few, but I don't want to always do it every time. So I was trying to let other people jump in. But yeah, I have another cell working right now as of yesterday, and it helped Tito close one last night if he can get the credit approved. I also helped somebody from not in our group that needed help from last meeting. She reached out to me because she liked the breakout room, and I helped her close the deal.
Awesome, Scott. Great stuff coming from you. I can't wait to get you your mentor test out and get rocking and rolling.
I have one that I'd like to mention. Stephen Gregg became the #1 recruiter last month, and he's well on track to winning the bonus, a recruiting bonus, $7,500. So I'm excited for him. Shout out to Stephen.
Stephen, congratulations. Yeah, I believe you're top of the leaderboard, going to win this contest, it looks like. I don't know if you can jump off mute and just share some of those successes or how you've been attracting so many referrals to join our platform, but congratulations.
There you go. Sorry about that. Couldn't figure out how to get my mute off there. So yeah, it's been great. It's been an awesome thing. And I think the biggest part for me has just been belief. You know, looking at what Power's done and what JC's done over the last year, you know, it took time for me to get my belief to where it needs to be, which is almost a year. I joined almost the same time JC did. And he came in and built the business, and I saw what he did. And then after that, I just made a decision that, you know, like the guy was saying yesterday, that Power is the best opportunity out there. And I know it is. So I've been around, I've seen a lot of things over the years. So I just put my head down and sat in this house every day until I built a team. And that's what I decided to do first before just going out and selling solar. Because usually in direct sales, in my past, I would usually just come in and just go rock the house selling whatever the product was. This time I said, I'm gonna go a different approach. I'm gonna build a business, and then I'll go sell solar so it can grow exponentially. So I kind of went a different approach this time. And it's paying off. I didn't even know there was a contest till a couple of weeks ago. JC told me. Actually,
awesome.
good.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Stephen.
Let me just say this. He really did not know there was a contest going on. He had no idea. And then I was like, wait a minute. You know, when we found out, Jonathan, when you text me, who is this guy, bro? Then I was like, what is that? I was like, oh, that's right. There's a recruiting, because I didn't even know. I remember they announced it, but I didn't even know there was a recruiting contest. And I said, hey, Steven, you're winning this contest your first week, because he had been in 1 week when he hit the leaderboard. So anyways, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, JC. Shout out to Steven. I know you did a training for JC on Monday already. I can't wait to watch that. And I think I see you on stage in headquarters with JC pretty soon, maybe. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I like being on stage. I enjoy it.
And here's the leaderboard as of yesterday in the newsletter. Make sure to check that out. We have today and tomorrow, I think, is the last day. So it looks like Steven has a pretty good spot here in first place. So congratulations, Larry McKinney, kicking butt. We have, of course, Edgardo, myself, even JC. I know he's not really trying on this, and he's still in 11th place. So shout out to all you guys, Rick, Joseph, as well. And that contest is till December 15th. There's 10 prizes, $7,500 looks like is going to be going to Steven if he holds his title. Second place, Larry, $5,000. So shout out to all you guys bringing on consultants and helping them get to their first closed deal here. All right, I got a few more things here and then we will get to our lovely training. If you haven't heard the CEO call, it was on Power.live on Wednesday. We heard electrical training from Paul Leone, CEO call from Jonathan Budd. We do have Mission solar panels going up a little bit in price and a little bit on the Enphase batteries. Good news is that CED, the nation's largest distributor, and Enphase, the best inverter brand, they love Power. They think Power is one of their best customer. And we get the rewards of that, better pricing, inventory, battery storage. So we have a lot of batteries that are being allocated just for Power. Also, we have Aptos panels coming on board. That's going to be Texas only.
Say what? Texas only?
Yeah, we'll let them sell those panels. They are on hand. We have them in inventory, so no issues there. But I'm excited, Jarrett, for the Canadian 390, 395 black on black at just 52 cents for California, Nevada, Arizona. So
Very nice.
a couple new panels. But I mean, hey, RECs and Q cells, guys, 400 watts. That's best of the best in class. So we already have the best equipment here.
Yeah, those RECs really come into play in a competitive market.
Absolutely, yeah. Doesn't get better than that. Labor update, Southern California, we are experiencing a lot of, shaking in the solar industry with labor, with inventory, with panels. We're going to continue to see some challenges ahead. Tesla doesn't even have solar panels to sell. Other companies are having challenges. So 10 cents per watt increase in Southern California. Just be mindful of that. Not all labor partner will charge that. So what you'll find is a lot of the labor partners are underneath that, but that's just worst case. There are a few in Southern California that may be up to that price point. So just be mindful of that. Couple important trainings, as always, Tuesdays, 12 Pacific consultant training, powercalendar.com. Tomorrow, this should be pretty fun. Whoever can make it. I know we're maxed out at capacity. Tomorrow night in Orange County, the city of Orange, at Dave & Buster's, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. We have our holiday party sponsored by Goodleap. And of course, JC, Charles Thompson, and myself are chipping in to make this a free event. We got dinner, soft drinks, game cards for everybody. And it's going to be great. Tomorrow we'll share a video. We have a videographer coming as well. Thursdays, if you're newer here, please take an onboarding once or twice, 12 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Pacific, Thursdays, Power Calendar. And Jarrett, like you said, December 21st and 28th, Tuesdays, we may just do a casual Q&A, brandy, fireside chat. You know what I mean? No, nothing formal. If y'all want to come Q&A, great. If not, we're going to save the best training for next year. So Q&A for the next 2 Tuesdays. This will be the last one. Christmas and New Year's. And then tentatively, we're planning a Super Saturday in-person training in the Downey office. JC has secured a great office for the team. So we're going to start off the year right. Saturday, January 8th. Final details to come, but that's what we're going to be shooting for. And that will be on Zoom as well. And then lastly here, January 14th and 15th, I strongly recommend you, if you haven't attended or if you already have attended a virtual national convention, Power has the best 2-day conventions. This one's going to be Friday and Saturday, January 14th and 15th. Go to powerconvention.com for more information on that. Here's a little holiday party. If you would like to give donations to Give Power or Prosperity Homes, Give Power donates fresh water to people around the world and builds solar water farms. Prosperity Homes builds homes in Mexico with solar panels. So whoever's attending the holiday party, especially if you'd like to donate, all donations are welcome. And then, of course, powerconvention.com. It's the 2-day event here. Maybe Jim and Irene in a second can chat a little bit more on that. But that is going to be a great event. The holiday bonus has been extended, so it is an adder. Go to incentives. You can give a 12-month rebate check. It has been extended till the end of the year. So please make sure to incentivize all your proposals, your projects, your leads to sign before the end of the year. And on that note, real quick, net metering was talked about yesterday, and we will be seeing a final decision by January 23rd or 27th. It could go into effect as soon as the end of May. I can't stress how much urgency and how important this is to get California deals sold and installed and PTO, permission to operate, by the end of May. Like I seriously cannot stress how crazy important it is. We have to have messaging, email, text blast, any California lead or homeowner. We'll do a separate training on this, but the net metering and the monthly fees are getting a lot worse, like worse. The buyback credits are going lower. This is huge, guys. So we really, really have to get ahead of this, and we should drive the urgency for the next few months. Anyone in California has to know that solar return on investment payback period is going to get double. It's literally going to take twice as long to pay back.
And Jonathan, question. I mean, is that official yet? I mean, is there still anything that we can do, write to our congressman? Is more petitions? I mean, is there anything that can stop this or prevent this from happening? Because truly, this is going to wreck the industry. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be obsolete, but it's going to huge damage. It's like a meteorite hitting the California solar market.
It's not official yet. There's an email I can share. There is this Sign the California petition that someone could share in the chat here. But we'll see. It's all tentative, fingers crossed. By end of January, there's something better that's decided upon. But as of now, it's not looking too good. And I'm not too concerned. Like in Arizona, like in Hawaii, people still go solar. It still does make sense. It still will continue to, but it will not be as lucrative. So yeah, more to come on that for sure. And then lastly, real quick, I've been a little bit bombarded the last few weeks, and I'm trying to help everyone, but it's challenging. So when it comes to operations and sold projects, leave a ticket in power.com to the project manager. Allow 2 business days to get a response. If you still do not get a response, text or call the project manager. If you still need help, email the project manager, CCing the operations manager, which is in the project. You can see who your PM and your OM is. If you still have problems, you can text and call the operations manager. And if you still have problems, you can use the chat or the support line. And after all that, if you'd like to reach out to me or Bobby Smith or Charles or someone of that nature, then feel free. But please exhaust all of these options. I know there's challenges. I know there's frustrations. End of the year always is. Other companies are no better. I guarantee it. So please exercise all of these amazing options that we have on our projects. And just in case you didn't know, customer facing resources, chat.power.com, 866-GO-POWER or customer care at power.com are all great tools for customers. Okay. So today is a little special. I have 2 great friends on, and I get to introduce both of them. Irene Whalen is on here, and she basically does everything. She wears many hats. She supports training, development, headquarters. She basically runs the show there. And she also supports Jim Bunch. Jim Bunch, for those of you that don't know, is a co-founder of Power. He helped take Jonathan to the rainforest, make this amazing platform. He has been speaking motivationally, business plan. He's got the game of life that people pay tens of thousands of dollars for. So we have the honor of having him on here to speak a little bit on just getting your mind right about business plan, setting up a successful 2022, using this worksheet that's provided to us to really make next year the best year possible for us. So with that, Jim, if you're on here, and Irene, the stage is yours.
Awesome. Thank you. Irene, was there something that you wanted to kick off with?
No, go ahead.
All right, game on. So welcome everybody. Just make sure, can you hear me? Raise hands. Cool. We got a lot of people hiding out today. Not a lot of cams happening, but let's dive in. So Jonathan asked if we could kind of help with the goal setting sides of things. And I want to start off with a question. When you think about setting goals, maybe you do goals yourself or you teach other people, what are some of the reasons why people set goals? There's 3 in particular I'm going to talk about and then give you some strategies. Then we'll drop down into the business plan side of this thing. But why do people set goals? What's the purpose of this? Who wants to kick it off? Type it in the chat or come off of mute.
To grow.
All right, to grow. Cool. What else?
So this is Anders. It's a guardrail, a path on where to go and how
Right.
to end up there.
Yeah, they give you the bumpers, the
Accountability.
guardrails. Yep. It helps to be accountable for sure, right? Something to shoot for, Larry says. What else? Attain a new milestone, pathway to success. Okay, cool. So these are all true. So let's dive. I'm going to ask the question from a deeper level because we can give the basics of goal setting for people who are brand new. And I know a number of you have been setting and achieving goals for a while, right? So I want you to think back to the goals that you've achieved that were big goals. Maybe they were goals that you didn't think you could accomplish, or they were so big that in order to do these things, it changed you in some way. So when most people think of goals, by the way, does everybody have a goal like that? You have a goal that at one time you're like, I could have never pictured I could have accomplished that. Maybe it was starting a business. Maybe it was buying a dream home. Maybe it was, donating to a charity, 100,000, $1 million, whatever it is. Anybody have goals like that where it really challenged you and stretched you? Okay. So when you think about goals, there's a couple of frameworks. First off, setting a goal is one thing. Achieving a goal is another. So you're in the goal setting process, which is a process tapping into your thoughts and feelings of what it is that you want to create or experience or attain or achieve. This is what most people do somewhat well. So there's some distinctions around how you set goals that are important. And I've worked with over 10,000 entrepreneurs. I think we're closer to 20,000 at our Ultimate Life business. And what we did is we surveyed people and we said, what are your goals? So I'm going to do the same thing to you. If I asked you today and I said, you have a limited time right now in the next 20 minutes to set goals, and those are the goals that you're going to have to go for next year, right? So we're going to set them now. You're going to achieve them next year. What are some of the goals that you would write down? Go ahead and type them into the chat real quick or shout them out. What are some examples of goals that you might set? Let's get the ball rolling here. What are some goals? Okay, so passive income, and you'd have some specifics around that, right? JB3, right? Health, diet, okay? Those are the categories of goals. Brian says 8 contracts per month, right? Or 6 contracts per month, right? So a little more tangible. 1 quality family day per month. All right, Kiara says global goals. All right, again, more general. All right, so here's what we noticed. Most people's goals fall into 3 categories. They're either financial goals, right? They are health goals, or they're happiness goals. They're either something to make you happy, healthy, or wealthy. So think about that when you're setting your goals. What are the goals that I'm going to set just to make me happy? Those could be your family goals. They could be personal growth goals. They could be just a goal of something you've wanted to attain, achieve, or acquire, right? That's typically how most people set goals. This is a goal that I want to attain something, might be a diploma, right? Achieve something. I'm getting a badge for doing something or some recognition, or acquire something. I want to acquire a piece of property or a passive income stream or a new fill in the blank, right? So this is how most people approach their goals: to achieve, attain, acquire. But I asked you a question before. I said, what's a big goal that you've achieved in your past? Maybe it's to build a game-changing company, something that's going to disrupt an industry, like what we're doing in Power. It comes down to two other things that, in my experience, are more important than what you achieve, attain, or acquire. The second most important piece is, how do you feel in pursuit of that goal every day? Do you wake up inspired? Do you feel challenged? Are you growing? If the goal is not a big enough goal for you, it's not going to pull you forward. It's not going to challenge you. It's not going to inspire you. Then the goal is actually not worthy of you. See, most people think, am I worthy of that goal? That's the wrong question. The question is this goal worthy of me trading my life for? Because when you wake up, you have a certain amount of time that you're going to allocate towards that goal. And in essence, you're saying yes to that and no to something else. So if your goal is to get financially free in the next 3 years, is that goal the right goal for you? Is that goal worthy of you trading your time and your talents away from other things? Might be family or your health or whatever. Now, again, these are what I call competitive instead of inclusive goals, because the reality is, if you align your goals of happy, healthy, and wealthy, you'll achieve all of them faster. If they look like they're competing commitments, and I'm kind of going advanced here because I'm trying to hit different levels, the beginners and the advanced. If you've designed your goals that say, well, I want to triple my business next year, but I also want to get in the best shape of my life. Most people think those are competing. But if you actually align them and you say, how can I get in my best shape of my life while achieving financial freedom, while making an impact and doing what I want with my family, now you've got to make your goals work together. So this is architecting. Again, we're in the setting goal process. Achieving it is when we get to the business plan and we start talking about, well, what are the KPIs that are going to tell you if you're on or off track? What are those borders or those metrics that you're looking at? So a lot of people talk about SMART goals. Michael's saying SMART, S-M-A-R-T. That works great in health and wealth goals, not necessarily as great in the happiness goals. So are they specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound? Those are SMART goals. Very tangible, very easy to structure and see if you're on or off track. Those are awesome. They work great in the health and the wealth category. But happiness, again, goes back to the second thing I was talking about, which is feeling. How are you going to feel in pursuit of this goal? Which means, are they aligned with your values? If you're clear on what you value most in life and you align your goals with your values, you will achieve them with ease and effort and grace. If what you're going after, your goal that you set, right? This is something you decided. If it's not in alignment with your values, then you're going to feel resistance or friction towards that goal. And this is where people start off really strong, but then a couple, 3-4 weeks in, all of a sudden they get detoured, or they go, you know what? I feel like I'm stressed. That's because you haven't aligned your values with your goals. All right. And by the way, are you following? We're tracking where we're at? Okay, I'm talking at different levels here, so trying to make sure that those of you who are advanced goal setters and achievers get some value. So number one reason that people typically think of is, I want to achieve, attain, or acquire something. Those are great goals. Number two is, I'm going to establish this goal to change the way I feel every day, to inspire me, to motivate me, to pull something greater out of me. But here's the real reason. This is, if you look at any goals that have been goals that were incredible goals that were worth trading your life for, the number one reason to set a goal is not just to achieve, attain, acquire, or to make you feel a certain way. The number one reason to set a goal is to evolve you. Now think about this for a minute. The big goals that you've gone after, maybe it was to become a parent, right? To have a kid. Maybe it was to get married. Maybe it was to get financially free. Maybe it was to start up a business. Maybe it was to build homes, as Jonathan was talking about. Isn't it true that any of the big goals that you went after, you actually had to change the way you think, the way you feel, and the way that you act? Think about that for a minute. And then, by the way, if you've never achieved anything big, then this is your opportunity to say, how can I evolve? Because when you choose a goal, it's something outside of you at first that resonates with something inside you. It's literally an environment of you. So as you set this goal, let's say, for example, when we were in the rainforest and Jonathan said, I had this vision. He had a vision to build the world's first direct sales clean energy company. We had to align the mission with that, which was to accelerate the adoption of clean energy worldwide. The mission brought the heart in, and we knew in setting that goal that that was going to change the way that we thought and felt. Neither one of us had been in the solar industry. Neither one of us had built this kind of a platform before. So we had to change who we were at the core in order to basically allow ourselves to pull ourselves into this goal. We had to learn new technologies, new strategies for raising capital, new problems and challenges we have to overcome, right? We aren't the same people we were 9 years ago when we set that goal, right? Or 11 years ago. I forget when we were in the rainforest. It's been a minute, right? But how have you changed and evolved as a result of the goals that you've set? So this is all in the goal setting process. I'm going to pause for a second, but this is, again, trying to hit the basics as well as some of the advanced thinking. When I look at the people who achieve the greatest things in their lives, the ones who start movements, the ones who create companies that make a dent in the universe, the ones who leave a legacy that is not just for their family, but their community and the world, who they were before they took on that goal is never the same person post-achievement. Does that make sense? Everybody follow? So it could be that some of the goals that you're reaching, that you're going for, aren't actually inspiring you enough, and that you need to raise your game. All right. So any comments or questions before we dive into the next chunk? Because then I'm going to give you some tips. JB?
I just have this, like, I hardly ever stop and think of all the things that we've achieved, like I'm just trying to building the home in Mexico, getting a degree, income goal. I think you've done this before in other exercises where you just have people write down all the things they've done and you just realize, holy crap, I've done so much more than I ever sit down and appreciate. So.
Yeah, that process is actually what I typically do with people before they set goals. It's called the year-end review, and we just did it last week for Ult Life. And this week I'm doing the goal setting and achieving workshop. So the reason you do the year in review is, like you said, most people, what they do is they keep dragging their past into their future. And they also, especially high performance achievers, have a tendency to discount our wins. We actually forget, because we're so used to achieving, that we don't give ourselves credit to go, wow, look at all the things I achieved. And so we go from memory instead of a process. That process was called the year in review. We literally just ran it last week. And it's crazy because you start to realize there's so many things that I've achieved in just this last 12 months. From that place of feeling inspired and feeling confident and feeling powerful, then you disconnect from that year and you start to look at your future and you say, okay, how do I want to evolve next year? What are the things that I want to feel? And then what do I want to achieve, attain, and acquire? But you're starting with the goal of your own evolution. In order for me to become more strategic, in order for me to have clearer vision, in order for me to be a greater leader, in order for me to be able to operationalize at scale and help others do the same, right? Those are the types of things that are going to cause each of you to evolve. JB and I were on a hike with Irene and some of the other power people. And as we were talking about what is JB and his team's next evolution in order to allow everybody to start to grow, right? So I'm going to drop into the second piece here. Now I'm going to give some tips from setting goals that we've learned from looking at thousands of people's goals. And I'll start number 10 and move down to 1, and then we'll drop down into the business plan. JB, what do we have for time, by the way?
We normally try to wrap by 11 a.m. So whatever feels good for you.
Okay, cool. So I'll let me do this. I'm going to go fast through this, and then probably another 5-7 minutes on the goal achieving part, which is the business plan side. All right. So remember, part 1 is how you set goals. And a little distinction or insight around setting goals: do not set goals in your home or your office that you're in every day. All right. Does anybody know why? Why do you not want to set goals in the home or office you're in every day?
Perspective.
Okay, say a little bit more. What about that?
Well, if you're under the same thing every day, you're gonna only see that far. So changing perspective really gives you a fresh, broad look into what could be.
You got it. You got
Yeah,
it.
it might be kind of like a narrow perspective, like you're saying, if you're always in your office, when you get outside, it allows your mind to expand and grow and dream a little bit.
You got it. How many of you, when you've gone on vacation or you've been on, a flight on seat 1A, for example, have different ideas and thoughts than you do when you're in your home or office every day, right?
Every time.
Every single time. So the reason is your environment's controlling your focus and your reality. Well, you've already created this environment. Like, I love my environment, right? But I don't set goals in this environment. I go somewhere else that's not familiar to me, because this creates familiarity. And the purpose of a goal is not to recreate the same thing. It's to design something new, to evolve you. So go somewhere else, somewhere that's not familiar. It might be on vacation somewhere. It could be at a mountain, could be at a beach, could be at a lake, right? Could be at a high rise overlooking, a city, whatever it is that changes that perspective that we're talking about. More importantly, you want to put yourself in a prosperous environment, right? Something that is going to awaken a side of you that's not a normal day in and day out. So that's one of the tips here. So let me go through these other tips here. Number 10 is SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. If you do that with your health and wealth goals, probably likely that you're going to hit those goals, as long as it's clear, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. The happiness goals are a little bit different. That's a more advanced conversation about doing life by design, by understanding your core values, your strengths, your gifts, and your talents, and then understanding how to steer away from your weaknesses and anything that's going to drain your energy. That's more of an advanced goal setting. But number 10 is SMART. Number 9, appropriate goals to the level of game you're playing. Number 9 is appropriate goals to the level of game that you're playing. So if you are financially, for example, in repair and recovery, let's say that you have debt, all right, or in health, maybe you've got sickness, you've got cancer, or you've got some dis-ease that your body is dealing with. You're in what we call repair and recovery. If in the happiness category, your relationships are filled with drama or struggle, or internally you're dealing with anger or sadness or fear as a constant thing you're running, you're in repair and recovery, and that's okay. Everybody I know has been in repair and recovery at some point in their life. If you're there, you want to start working on what we call foundational goals. These are habit-based goals, things that just get you into the rhythm of doing things every day that improve your happiness, health, and wealth. So that's foundation goals. If you've already built a solid foundation, you've got some cash in the bank, you don't have any debt, your health is good, you got good energy levels, you're not spiking and dropping all over the place. Now you're going to work on what we call level 3, which is reserves. Your reserves means I've got an abundance of time and energy. I've got resource. I've got the ability to move a little bit. And if you're in reserves, then you're moving to the next level 4, which is mastery. And mastery is where you're getting into things like biohacking, advanced financial planning, life by design instead of life by default. So set goals that are appropriate for where you are. If you're in repair and recovery, you should not be working on mastery goals. You're going to, the gap is too far for short term. Everybody follow what I'm saying? And don't be embarrassed where you are. You deal with where you're at and you move up to that next level. Okay. So that's number 9, the goals that are appropriate to the level you're playing at. Number 8, remember, simplicity succeeds and complexity kills. I see people with these massive goal lists. And what I typically do is I say, if you can narrow that down to 3, 2, or 1 goal, you're going to win. If you've got 100 goals, put them in a folder and show me what's the 1 goal. If you could, if eventually you could have all 99 of those, but today you're only allowed to focus on 1 goal, 1 thing at a time, what would that be? If you can narrow all your goals into 1 goal, watch what happens to the energy you have around that goal. Okay, could be a happy, a healthy, or wealthy, but if you focused 100% of your energy into 1 thing, you know you're going to achieve it. Right? So remember, simplicity succeeds and complexity kills in goals. Number 7, always ask why not how. Why do I want this goal? Why is this the most important thing worth trading my life for? Not the how. Your job is not to figure out the how. You can run your strategies and your tactics and your game plans. We'll get into that. But the why is always more important than the how. The why is the fuel. The why is the fuel. And if you run out of fuel, no how is going to matter. So you got to stay connected to that why. And it's your personal why. It's not somebody else's. It's not your husband or wife. It's not your teammates. It's not the president of the United States or around the world. It is 100% your why. Number 6, and I already said this, never set goals in a familiar environment. I already talked about that. Number 5, set goals that pull you instead of push you. What does that mean? It means that when you set goals that are inspiring and they're out here, you should feel like you're being drawn to it. You should not wake up every day and feel motivated to get there. If you have to pump yourself up, if you have to stimulate yourself, it's not the right goal for you. It's actually working against you instead of for you. Now, you can take a similar goal and change the way you think about it, and all of a sudden it becomes inspiring if you align it with your values. But goals should not be forceful. They should be attraction-based. All right. The next one is number 4. Everything is energy. So remember that the goal should inspire you, not expire you. Some goals are past their expiration date, right? They're actually a problem, not a solution. So when you look at goals that are shoulds or coulds or ought tos, or I have to do this, that energy is not going to inspire you. It's going to actually drain you. So look at your relationship to the goal and be honest enough to say, I know that this goal is an environment and it's carrying energy. Is it inspiring me? Is it bringing my spirit forward? Or is it expiring me and draining me? And by the way, it may end up being the same goal, but the way you're thinking about it or the way you're approaching it might need to change. Okay. Number 3 is authentic to you. And I kind of touched on this a second ago. It 100% has to be for you. Do not set goals for other people. If you're setting a goal for somebody else, ask yourself, what is it about me that is wanting to please that person? Take care of that first. All right. Number 2, I shared this. The purpose of a goal is to evolve you. Take a look at your goal and ask yourself, how is this going to change who I am at the end of the year? Because when you look back at the end of 22, at this coming year, you got to ask yourself, how did I grow? How did I evolve? What is it about me that had to shift or change or alter in order to be the person that's in alignment with that goal? All right, it might be to be financially free. It might be to have a thriving team that you love to hang out with and travel the world with or build homes with or whatever it is, right? So what is it about those goals, though, that you would have to change or evolve? Maybe you need to be better at managing your time, right? Or your energies. Maybe you need to be better at architecting or designing environments or delegating or communicating. Whatever it is, how did you have to evolve in order to be with that goal? And then the final one, and I think this fits appropriate here, is remember that life is a team sport. Life is a team sport. You are never, ever meant to reach these goals totally on your own. All right. It might be a family member. It might be a friend. It might be somebody who's cheering you on, right? It might be a coach or a trainer. It might be your clients that you're bringing in. All right. It might be somebody who's booing you. And as weird as that sounds, if you don't have anybody who's telling you you can't reach your goals, look for them. Find those people, because some people operate better with cheering and coaching. Some people operate better with people who are saying, you know what, you'll never reach that, Larry. You know what, Anders, that's a ridiculous goal. Some people need that to move away from. All right. So keep that in mind, that life is a team sport and everyone's on your team. Some are cheering you on. Some are kicking you in the butt. Some of them are saying, nope, they're your naysayers. Rally those people. Tell them about your big goal. Tell them that you're going to transform. See what happens. See how you designing that game makes it feel better. So this is all tips on the goal setting side, not the achieving side, but the setting side. So I'll pause for a second. Are there any questions or comments around that before we move into the achieving side?
What was number 3?
Number 3, 3 was authentic to you and only you. Doesn't matter what your wife, husband, dog, friend thinks about your goal. 100% you.
I know the team is loving this training, Jim. You're amazing. I have a question. Should we post our goals on our fridge or announce them to other people? Is there some science that resonates to helping achieve that?
Yeah, and again, this goes back to what works best for each of you. There is plenty of neuroscience that says that if a goal is visual and it's impacting your subconscious every time you see it, you're more likely to hit that goal. And I have experience of doing those things too, goals that I didn't even think I was focused on. And next thing you know, I achieved them on the actual date that was on the thing and I didn't even realize it. You know, when you have those vision boards with a bunch of things on it. So there is plenty of evidence around that. I can tell you that if you tap into the right frequency of one big goal, nobody's going to have to remind you about it, right? If you know that this is the one thing I'm doing and you wake up every day, like I wake up in the morning and as soon as my feet hit the ground, I'm like, man, I am stoked about this. This is worth trading my life for. That's a qualifying question that I'm constantly asking myself. Is this worth trading my life for? Because you are. Every single minute and every single second of every single day, you are making a conscious or unconscious decision to move towards that goal, which means that that time, that energy is invested in pursuit of that goal. If it's not worth it, you've got the wrong goal. 100%. Okay. So yeah, both those other strategies were fantastic. Okay, so let's move into, let's say now that you have a goal that's truly inspiring. It's something that's got you motivated. Every day you wake up, you're like, this is it. I know it. Like, this is the right exchange of my life. This is worth trading my life for, right? Once you have that, then people go, well, let's talk about the how. That's the what. What is the how? And the how is an interesting one. In my experience, you want to set your strategy and you want to have your KPIs, which is in the business plan. And we can bring that business plan up. But first, I want to give you a qualifier for this. In my experience, how you actually think you're going to reach the goal when you're setting the goals is rarely the way that it happens. Think about this. How many people do you have on your team that you sat down one day and said, here's my list of people. I'm going to recruit and onboard every one of these people. And every one of these is going to build 10 people that builds 10 people that builds 10 people. Is that actually how it happened? Never, right? Think about the goal that you had that was your big goal. Did it happen the way you thought it was going to happen initially? Never. See, it's our job to decide the what. It's the universe's job to show us the how. Do you have to move forward? Yes. Do you have to be in action? Yes. Do you have to be aligned with it? 100%. But it is not your job to know the how. It is your job to experience it and to move forward. But it rarely happens the way you think. The way that Irene and I met was through David Steele. I could have never predicted that. There's no way. Absolutely impossible for me to have predicted that David Steele, who I've known for close to 30 years, would have met Irene, brought her on board. She helped him operationalize that business. And I said to David, dude, she is awesome. Would you be cool if we brought her in-house? How would I ever predict that, right? She's been a valuable asset to the team. How would Jonathan Bernasso and I ever have figured out that we met? And we still don't know what's going to happen the next 10 years. Next thing you know, we might be building homes together. We might be changing the world together, right? How do you know? You can't predict that. But so many people burn their RAM thinking of the how. Set your strategy, right? Align it with your goals, but then release it to the universe. Let the universe figure out the how. Jonathan and I would have never known who our initial investors were going to be. We went and pitched Tech Coast Angels. We went and pitched VC. We pitched all these different people. We would have never known that Dean Rosenberg would have run, this is our second round, would have run out of a room that we pitched and said, I don't know what's wrong with these people, but I'm going to invest myself, lead a round, and I'm going to bring people to my house and have you pitch them there. We literally did a network marketing style meeting on his TV showing the disrupt and decentralized slides. And Dean became the leader of one of our rounds. Now, Dean is in-house. He came out of retirement to be our CTO, COO, and now CTO. How would we have ever predicted that? No way. You can't predict this stuff. That's the magic in this. So I encourage you to release that responsibility to the universe. Now, that being said, you can get down into your business plan. And are we going to share the business plan? Or you want me to do it, or you want to do it?
Either one, Jim. I can pull it up if you'd like, or.
Yeah, here, I got it up right here.
Okay, perfect.
So that being said, and Jonathan, you can work with everybody on their goals. So let's say you set some specific goals around your business, and then you get down to this weekly performances. This is just simply for you to develop the habit of being a top performer. All right. So when we talk about your weekly performances or your KPIs, when Irene and I were looking at what is the core behavior that we know is going to produce tangible success or results, it is literally how many conversations, either one-on-one or one-to-many, doesn't matter, but it's how many conversations are you having about solar or about the business. It's super simple. If you're having 100 conversations a day and somebody else is having one a week, who's going to win the game? The 100 a day. Just sheer math, they're going to win, right? Utility bills. How many utility bills are gathered? Conversations lead to bills. We know that, right? You have to have the bill to have a what? Presentation. And in order to get a contract signed, you got to have that presentation. So the name of the game is how many contracts are signed, how many presentations are given. And yes, you'll get better at your presentations, right? Yes, you'll get better at gathering utility bills. Yes, you'll get better at what you say to who and when and how. But at the end of the day, if you focused on developing these habits, the same way if you go into the gym and you said, all right, I know that I have to eat right, I have to move my body right, and I have to sleep right, repair and recovery. I have to do those three things in order for me to gain ultimate health. I'm going to win. In the area of creating wealth, there's three things you have to do. You have to create cash, you have to manage cash, and you have to invest cash. It's super simple, right? The more cash I create, the better I manage it, the more I have to invest. And the more I invest, if I do cash flow investing, the more cash I'm creating. You create the flywheel of money. That's how you win that game. Okay. So in power specifically, which by the way, I think power, and I'm not saying this because we're all in this, I think it's one of the best vehicles that I've seen for moving people from repair and recovery to foundation to reserves to mastery. I honestly do. And there's numerous reasons, because number one, it's a high ticket sale. So you move into cash flow creation quicker than most businesses. Number two, it's got the team side of this thing built into it. So you can build passive income. Your active income is high ticket, and your passive income, your recurring income, has a team approach to it, which is also high ticket overrides. It's a brilliant model, not to mention the portfolio side of the stock side of it. So from a vehicle standpoint, if you learn to focus on these three KPIs, how many conversations, bills, presentations, and contracts signed, you'll build up those cash reserves. If you manage it properly, meaning you don't go piss it all away, you don't blow it, right? Because the whole goal of financial freedom, and we talk about this right in the beginning of your packet, the 4 freedoms, right? Time freedom means you control your schedule. Location freedom means you can do this business from anywhere in the world. How many of you, show of hands, have already done this business from the palm of your phone? You've had somebody sign a contract, or you've done a proposal from, right? You could do that. Almost every one of you has. So you already have, once you're full-time, you have the ability to roll your own schedule. You have location freedom. Every one of you should choose your financial freedom date. And what that means is your passive income exceeds your monthly expense. That's it. Even if it's by 1 penny or $1, if it exceeds it and it's recurring, you won that game. The one that takes longer for people is the inner freedom, right? So for those of you who are in leadership positions, maybe you've already got time, location, and financial. If your passive income is exceeding your monthly expense and you're not out just blowing your finances, then your inner freedom, your emotional, mental, and spiritual mastery is the next level of game. Then when we call leadership, that's what it is. But my point here is that every one of you should have a freedom date, and it should be 36 months or less. And the reason is any goal that's big like that for most people, if it's too long, they won't focus on it. If it's too short, it creates unnecessary tension. So sometime within the first 3 years of you being in power, you should be building a foundation and getting into financial reserves. with passive income. In other words, the team. Now you can do that through just doing active income and generating 10, 20, 30, 40,000 a month if you take that capital and reinvest it in cash flow producing assets. Might be real estate, buying other businesses, whatever, but it's got to be cash flow producing. Okay. So I know I'm hitting a couple of different angles, but the idea here is on a day in, day out basis, if you and or your team is focused on conversations, bills, presentations, and contracts signed, you are eventually going to create more cash than expenses. You're going to get free, and hopefully you're going to have a freaking blast doing it. So JB, we're at 6 till. I hope that was okay.
Yeah, I think it's perfect timing. Maybe we could do see if there's any questions out there for you. I know I took a bunch of notes to go over my business plan this weekend. Any questions out there, guys, for Jim or Irene while we have them? I think everyone just loved it.
I don't know if they know what to do with it yet.
I'm new here. What is the acronym for PTI?
Sorry.
CPI? Or I'm sorry, KPI?
Oh, key performance indicator. So a KPI or a key performance indicator means basically that this is the data that tells me if we're performing on a day in, day out basis, right? So KPI is key performance indicator. There's 4 of them that we talk about here in Power.
Jim or Irene, and maybe you could touch on Power.live and the convention coming up. So if you guys like this, you definitely want to hear about Power.live and the convention coming up.
Yeah, so we'll talk about both briefly. So the Power.live is really our training add-on to the platform. So you're currently licensing a software platform called Power.com. Right? What we realized is there's people who need the skill set and the mindset of how to run and grow a business, how to set goals, and also how to understand the solar industry, because not everybody comes from the solar industry. So what we do is we run 2 national events per year. That's the one that's coming up in January that Jonathan just mentioned called Evolution. That's January 14th and 15th. So inside of a $35 a month subscription called Power.live, you get those 2 nationals included. You also get 10 what we call masterclass immersives. These are 4-hour immersives on the months that we don't have the nationals. So there's 10 of those. So you got 2 nationals and 10 masterclass immersives. We're now moving those to industry specific training. So the last one we just did with some of the amazing leaders was deep into the energy, in reading the bill, MPUs, this cheat sheet that was created. So these are now moving more towards the skills and tactics inside of solar. And then we run a weekly that Irene and I do. We run a weekly breakthrough coaching session. It's 1 hour. And that's where we get everybody to focus on their KPIs. We drop you into mastermind groups and you talk about what's working and where you need support and what your KPIs are. That is to build the habit of being a top performer, being a CEO and running your business like a business. So you got the 2 nationals, you've got 10 4-hour immersives, and you've got 36 1-hour breakthrough coaching sessions. That's the structure for $35 a month. So that's number 1. Inside the evolution that's coming up, so you understand what we do at our national conventions, we designed these to not only give recognition and rewards for all of the top performers. So you want to know who's having the most sales, who's mentoring the most deals, who's referring the most people to the platform. That's going to be featured at the convention. You get to see the people who are crushing it every day and hear from them how they're doing it. In addition to that, the company rolls out what we call lightning strikes. And lightning strikes are the new technologies that we're rolling out that are going to be game changing in your business. There are 3 lightning strikes that we're launching at this next national convention. And the benefit of knowing that is that you don't want to be the last person. You want to be the first person to hear about these things because it's fundamentally going to change the way that the business operates. In addition to that, you're going to hear from our sponsors and any products and programs and incentives that they roll out. And then we tweak all the fun, cool stuff to make these 2-day national conventions fun and inspiring. So I think now the price is at $199 for those national conventions. Power.live is $35 a month. It includes that. So you can do the quick math and figure out what you should do there. I've got another class I got to go to in 2 minutes. So
Brilliant. Well, with that, Jim, I put the links in the chat here. We truly appreciate you coming and giving us the knowledge and sharing your skills and expertise. It's really inspiring. And I know this whole team is motivated and going to kick ass and make goals and go back and watch our notes and make our business plan. So huge thank you to you, Jim and Irene, for your support and everything you guys do. Thank you so much.
you guys are great. Talk soon.
Bye.